Hello, good afternoon to my subscribers. I've been asked by one of them who's made the request about what it was like on the special units. So, because I was constantly getting ghosted from normal location to the SEG for alleged misdemeanors, I was selected for the CSC, which is classed as the Close Supervision Centre by the committee that used to meet at the Home Office or one of the high security prisons, which consisted of Scrubs, Long Lartin, Whitemoor, Manchester, Full Sutton, Hull, all them that used to take Cate's, Belmarsh. They used to meet every month and decide who was staying, who was going, who'd get moved, etc. 1998, I was in Whitemoor Block. I was on a dirty protest with about 8 other people at the time. And one day they opened my door. I assumed I was going to be a witness for someone on adjudication. So they took me in the shower, let me have a shower. Rather than put me back in the cell I was in, they moved me right down to the other end of the block in Whitemoor, which comprised of 2 parts at the time. So I was right next door to the gate. So unknown to me, I'd already been picked to actually go. So that same day, people were asking why I was down the other end, and they were told the ringleader for the dirty is being ghosted today to the special unit. So I was surprised. So they've come for me, put me on a Cat A van and took me to Wood Hill. Now, I'd never been there, so I didn't know what to expect. So you drive to Wood Hill and it's like, it's full of roundabouts and concrete cows. When we actually got into the jail, we didn't go to normal reception. We were escorted up to this building that was encircled by corrugated iron and fences. And right in front of us was a load of concrete sheep, 3 white and 1 black. I thought, funny. So I've got taken in, had everything marked down on the property cards, put into prison clothing, and it was put onto B section. And that same day, after a couple of hours, I was taken into a room upstairs where I was interviewed by staff. Now, I was basically asked to sign a compact. If I didn't sign a compact, I would have been down on A section, they actually told me. I didn't know at the time how many sections there actually was. So I actually signed a compact. I was housed up on the first floor. There was only 2 floors, but it was open. One side had the cells, one side had the hot plate, and the other side was open windows. So the only way you could get into the wing was through the main door, which wasn't by a key, it was by an electronic camera. You used to press a button, the screws, and it would come up with a red light, which was an infrared camera. They would say who they were and the door would unlock. That was the way you used to go out to exercise, the doctors, or wherever you was being, unless you were being transferred out, which was mad. But if you used to go to doctors, you used to take you into a clean cell that wasn't in use, strip you, search you, put you in a banana suit, which was a yellow and green stripe overall, which was normally used to transport cates and e-men. So you'd go to the hospital, you'd be escorted with 6 staff, which used to be the policy then for one inmate, 6 staff and a dog handler to take you to the doctors, which I thought at the time, fucking OTT. But when I went there, I was allocated to a group on B-Wing. I think at the time there was 2 other groups, but the group I was on, there was 2 people on that group. One of them I knew because he was constantly like me in the segs in the high security state. So we think certain people, because of their length of time, they've been in blocks and they were constantly in blocks. This CSC committee went, we'll take him, and we'll take him. There was a lot of people who were there who were disruptive. There was people who were killed in the system. And there was some there because of the notoriety of who they were selected. So you used to exercise with just the people who were on your group. So I exercised with the other 2 people on my group. You used to get out of an afternoon sometimes until they changed the regime, and that's all you mix with, the other 2 people. Education used to come across, and you sometimes used to do a bit of education. And because the way the wing was, there was always plenty of staff on the wing when other people used to come on, because there was a big camera right above the hot plate at the time in a big massive bubble, and there was 2 cameras above the cells on the ground floor and the upper floor, so they could look down and focus on what was going on. And what they used to do, it was psychological. If they didn't like you and didn't like your attitude, or if you wouldn't conform, and they wanted to move you down a level or move someone up a level, they would play psychological warfare, get into people's heads, get people to kick off, or they jump on someone and then take them down to the bottom level, which was A-Wing at the time. Now, A-Wing, I think there was quite a few people on A-Wing who were lied to in the whole unit. They were told that they would go to Woodhill and they'd go straight up onto the top level. That didn't happen. They come to Woodhill, they refused to sign a compact. They were housed on A-Wing where they got nothing at all. Couldn't even have a pen in the cell. Couldn't even have your paperwork in the cell. So you imagine someone like me who was fighting my case. I needed access to my paperwork, so I just signed it. Never thought nothing of it. But for months, it was up and down. I mean, you get the crack out of the windows. People used to be talking to each other, and they were writing everything down you used to say out the window. I've got it in my prison paperwork. Oh, Gilbert's agitating others, Gilbert's threatening this, or someone's threatening Gilbert. They're gonna do this, gonna do that. I was like, that, wow, okay. But yes, there was quite a few notorious people there that I was like, that, wow, fucking hell. And the fact that you had people there who'd killed in jail made it dangerous. I mean, some people went up to, after a while, they opened C-Wing up for people from B-Wing who were ready to progress. And then you go from there to Hull, because they had changed Hull, but they kept 2 people who didn't come to fucking Woodhill. Everyone else was shipped out of Hull. You know what I mean? And these 2 people were actually kept with, because then people were told that they were working for the staff. So you had things going on. You had people that shouldn't have been there who had mental health issues. One kid used to stand in the middle of his cell and stare at the walls all day, wouldn't budge. Other person used to green pad that you used to use on your cutlery or plate. You used to wash with one of them. Don't know if he used water, but he used to, whenever his family used to come up, he used to use a green pad, rub it all over his face like he'd had a wash, and go out on a visit, which was, I thought, fucking mad. And the one kid who'd been in a long time, one day, went down the stairs with a flask, which he used to give us a little flask. He filled it up with hot water, went back to his cell, and poured the hot water straight over his head. There was other people there that were cutting up. Some of them weren't bad, it was just for attention. But the fact they were doing it, you had to ask yourself, what are they doing here? Because the mental health on some used to affect others, because it used to bring you down. Watching people fucking do fucking stupid things to themselves. It wasn't nice. And no one kid tried to get someone to open him up with a knife, and the person he asked went, no, not interested. So this kid cut his leg open himself, and he used to put pens in there, shit in there, because he used to call you over to his cell sometimes. Yeah, look at this, and it stunk. I mean, blood, I don't know what the kind of smell is when someone's bleeding, but this man, his leg open, was filling that leg with shit and pens. You know what I mean? Even when they were trying to fucking fix it, he was still opening it up, and I was like that. Wow, this man can't be fucking right. Someone else did something. Now to look at this kid, people think nothing. But you know what? He was so quiet. I think he was one of the most dangerous ones there. I mean, I wasn't actually there when it happened, but I was up in either Hull or Durham units, which came on board. But this kid opened his face with a blade in front of people on his group, did not make a sound. And that to me is someone who is dangerous. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had some laughs there with people. There was a couple of people there I knew. But then when you didn't do what they wanted, they were then cutting you off behind your back to others. Oh, he's no good, him and his case, blah, blah, blah. One kid I'd known for a while in dispersal was like, Ray, are you going to come down here with us on A-Wing? I went, no. And then it was like, you're no good, blah, blah, blah. Your co-accuser said this and said that. I thought, right, you know what? I've known you for years and fucking done things, fucking protest with you fucking quite a bit, and you fucking stabbing me in the back. The other kid I knew from years ago, he was up and down like a fucking blue-ass fly. Used to talk to him out of the window, and then whenever he'd get something in his bonnet, he'd turn. You know what I mean? But this is a kid I knew who'd got life on top for someone who got killed in Long Lartin, and he's always said that he didn't do it. Now, I don't know if he did do it or not, but this is some of the people you had on that unit. You even had Pegleg, everyone knows him as Michael Sams. What he was doing there, fucking don't know. But he wasn't on my fucking group. He was on a other group. You had Fred there, who'd supposed to have killed twice in jail. Charlie was there. Fucking someone else called Tony Mack, who'd killed, was there. Brasher, who's supposed to have killed someone, was there. A kid from Manchester who'd killed his best mate on that unit before it changed to a new unit was there. But he used his head and got himself moved after a couple of weeks straight up to Hull, saying it was playing games with his mental health. Maybe it was. I know an other kid that was reading stuff about how to get himself sectioned off and what to do. He started fucking playing up and actually got himself sectioned. I mean, you had, okay, the people on the A wing weren't behaving. They started to attack staff. And the idea of the unit was to stop people going from block to block to block. But after a while, because of what was going on the A wing, they started creating special cells in the high security state segs for people to go on laydowns. Some people were on laydowns for months and months and didn't come back because the staff didn't want the hag. But the staff used to change, you know what I mean? And then different governors took over. Some of them had a right fucking terrible fucking attitude. Some of them would be there when you're getting fucking jumped on, getting fucking punched and kicked, and just fucking blanket. I remember when they jumped on me, if I had looked out my fucking cell, which I didn't, when one of them, who was a right arsehole, used to come round first thing in the morning and ask what you wanted application wise. It could be your exercise, shower, it could be the gym. They created a small little gym with a bike, row machine and a cross trainer, so you could go in there and have an hour whenever you were out. And he actually opened my flat one morning and went, "Do you want some?" I thought, wow. So he opened the door. I would normally go and stand at the door. And at the time, I had a little flask. They used to give us flasks for water. So I had that in the sink, which was right next door to the door. So when he opened the door, I picked it up and banged him with it. If I had looked out, there were screws lined up with the backs to the wall, waiting for it to go off. So they all burst in, jumped on me. I had one trying to bend that arm, one trying to bend that arm, and two trying to bend the legs. And this screw's trying to punch me in the face repeatedly. So every time he's trying to punch me, I'd turn my face so he wouldn't get the side that he was trying to punch. So he managed to get me on the floor, and he was jumping up and down on me and stamping my head on the floor. Now the floor at the time was like pebble dash. So when you used to pebble dash your house with that kind of stuff, that's what was on the floor. So by the time he got me up and took me back that down to A wing, my face was all fucking scraped because there was a kid there who I knew from the north end of Liverpool. He said, "Ray, your fucking face is a mess." So when healthcare's like come down, I said, yeah, note them marks. Oh, you haven't got no marks on you. And that's what they used to do. If they used to give a beat now and the person was marked up, there'd be no record of it, as if nothing happened. They used to take the camera, which could see into the cells, they would turn it off. So if they were going to jump on someone, there was no evidence. I mean, quite a few times, a few people were out on the yard, refused to come in. They'd go out in the yard, wrap them up, cuff them up, and drop them on the floor purposely, so you couldn't protect yourself. There's a couple of times we had a peaceful sit down on the yards, and they'd come in, jump on you, drag you in, give you the fucking few slaps. That was par for the course. It wasn't, oh, people make out. You had A wing, if you didn't conform, you were down there. B wing, if you signed a compact, you'd stay on there for a certain while until they thought you was ready to go up to the next level, which was C wing. There was two other parts of the unit, which was D wing was the seg for the unit for us lot, because you used to have a cell where if people were cutting up, they'd be in a cell, there'd be no door, but it would be a metal gate, and a member of staff would sit outside that cell all day, and during the night someone else, and it was a pink cell to try and calm people down. You know what I mean? So them who were notorious for fucking doing stupid things to themselves would be in that cell. E-wing, at the time, when I first went there, had a girl housed there. She's supposed to be something to do with the IRA. She was only there a week, and then they changed it, and used to have a unit in Parkhurst for the supergrasses. Well, they started bringing them and putting them up on E-wing, so you didn't see them. But one kid who got put on the unit for killing a kid in Felton, he somehow got through the door. How he done it, I don't know. But he got through the door, got into a room, and seen all these boxes with people's names on, who were all on there. So he got fucking, he got back on the unit, and he wouldn't bang up, so they were chasing him, I believe, all around the unit. He had to bring in a specialist team in for him and bring a kind of bouncy castle thing for him to fucking, whatever he was going to jump off or what. But it was fucking mad sometimes. Mad because was there fights on there? Not really. There was arguments because the kid, when I first went there, the kid I'd been in certain blocks with. We had a few choice words the last time I seen this kid in Long Lantern Block, and it was like, oh, when I see you next, I said, yeah, all right, yeah. So I've got the, what did they do? They put you on the group with someone they know you got beef with, hoping it will go off. So if you got an enemy there, they're not putting you on a group where things are going to be all right. They're putting you right in the mix, hoping it goes off. So then you're not having goes at them. You're fighting each other. So for a while, I was on B-wing, and I progressed up to C-wing. So then when you're on there, you're mixing with everybody. So I used to sit there every day. I used to play chess with Charlie. It used to be a regular contest about who'd get more mail each day. Because I used to get loads of mail from MPs because of my case. I was writing to them. And you know what? Every day they'd be opening the mail from MPs, which is protected under Rule 39A because they didn't know what was in them, and they were scared I was putting stuff in there about the way they were actually abusing people on them units, because it was heavy. I mean, there was one kid I used to laugh every day. You're sitting there of a night, you could be reading during the day, you could be writing, and if we're not out, he's on the bell. And we used to laugh because we used to sit there and count how many times a week he used to ring his bell. And it come to 500 times a week. And all he wanted, this was a kid who was a heavy smoker. And he didn't get enough wages on that unit to smoke. So he used to get the staff, get down there in that office, empty the ashtray, and I want the dibs brought up to myself. I was like, oh God, can't you fucking shut up sometimes and give people a fucking break? But this was every day, all day long. I was like, that fucking now, you're hard work, you. I wouldn't fucking like to be his fucking pad mate. Because you know what? Imagine if he wanted to smoke and you didn't have any. You might have fucking weighed you in. But it was some things like that, it was comedy. You know what I mean? But it did have his ugly side. You know what I mean? I didn't like to see people with mental health problems coming on that unit. You know what I mean? Because they shouldn't have been there. Should have been help for people. Basically, it was a regime that changed several times. I think it changed once or twice in my time there. Then once I left, it changed even more. But you can't put people like that on fucking units with mental health problems. They're not getting the help they need. All they're doing is just giving them medication. So, fucking, it was ruthless. There was a few times I went down on A wing, and I think one of the times we decided to smash a couple of the pads up, which we did, and then went on a dirty. So there was 4 of us. One kid damaged the cell that much that the hot water pipe had burst, and he was being doused with hot water. They went in there, beat him up. The other kid next door but one to me, they went in there and beat him up. But they left someone else and left me. Because the PO, who I knew from fucking Whitemore Block and Long Lartin, he was going fucking mad. I mean, but even then, they did the same, because A-Wing and B-Wing had the big camera above the hot plate. So, you knew, he'd turn around and say, make sure that's turned off so we can't fucking check what's fucking going on. So they did, yeah. They give kickings out there. They fucking abuse people. They fucked about with people's mail. Fucked about with people's visits. Some of the staff, like, I think they used to try and manipulate her or trying to pretend that they were okay. But everything that you were saying was getting reported back. One of the schools used to come in with bags and bags of fucking sweets and used to give everybody sweets, even when we're on the yard. Oh, yeah, give us one of your sweets. You know what I mean? You were just being fucking used to see what they could find out, what was going on. I mean, some of us didn't help ourselves because we used to fucking shout out the fucking windows to each other and fucking say all fucking kinds of shit. So I don't think we knew that they were writing it down in your file. But you couldn't help but hear what was fucking going on. You know what I mean? So it was mad. But I had people writing in saying, what the fuck's he fucking doing there? You know what I mean? People, I understand people who were violent and who killed in the prison being housed there, but people who were just a general pain, like me, for their paperwork, okay, sabotage, yeah, I'd done. What the fuck was I doing there? I used to do their red in sometimes with the paperwork. I used to accept bars of chocolate off kids on the unit. I bet you don't put so much paperwork in this week. Sometimes I used to put 500 applications in and request complaint forms in just to wind them up. And he used to come to me door saying, "You're only doing this to earn yourself a bar of chocolate." I go, "Yeah, that's fucking right. Fuck off." So I used to say, well, we can all play games. You're playing psychological warfare with everybody on this unit. You say, you're not helping them. I mean, there's some people that have been in there for donkey's years that haven't even left. You know what I mean? Why are they still fucking keeping them in them confines? Because they can't be helping them. I mean, they kept me there for fucking from 1998 to 2004. You know what I mean? Woodhill, I went to Hull. Hull was great. Fucking plenty of gym, cooking your own food. And then they told everyone it was shutting down. Somebody didn't like it. And it went off. They brought a teacher onto the wing. They were told not to bring on to the wing. And he got fucking taken. What happened to him? I wasn't out, so I couldn't actually see, so I can't say. But you had teachers coming up the path towards the unit saying, going mad, they've smashed up all our computers in there, get in there and fucking beat them up. You know what I mean? I was like, that, wow. And then you had this man sitting down. They used to come in on the twos in Hull. And there used to be a gate. So they were sitting behind the gate. And the person who got found guilty of this shouldn't have got found guilty of it. The teacher asked to be exchanged for the member of the staff. They refused. And he asked them to inform his partner outside. But then we all got took down the block the next day. And several hours later, someone else come down, stark bollock covered in oil, so they couldn't wrap them up. And we ended up getting moved out. But they shut Hull down. I think to agree, Hull worked to a degree. You had your own unit, your own gym, your own exercise. I think it was so much per week. The money used to go into a pot, and that's where our food used to get paid for. We never got prison food. We used to cook our own. And it was great. And then when they said you were all being transferred to a unit in Durham, which was the old Cat A unit. There was 2 units up in Durham, on either side of the church. One was for them with psychological problems. The other was the normal unit. So when we went up there, it wasn't the fucking same as what we had at Hull. You got education. You got some gym. They created a little space for the gym upstairs, but you were out for a certain time. Even that was like they used to fucking abuse your mail. A couple of people got shanghaied back because they didn't like it. My thing that I was found not guilty of happened there because they tried to set me up. But beside that, not much went on. You know what I mean? Because there was enough fucking screws out every time you were opened up to where if something did kick off, it would be contained. You know what I mean? But I don't think they're any use. But nowadays, you're seeing that amount of people being killed in prison. So where did these people being housed who actually kill people in fucking jail? Why aren't they in these kind of units? Because what they said basically, it was to stop people being transferred from block to block. It didn't work. It's like anything else in the system. When you constantly cutting back on things, make things harder for people, they will react. And that was what was going on. You had a few sadistic screws I've come across in my time who love nothing better than digging people out, creating problems. And there was a couple of them like that on the unit at Woodhill. There was two up at Durham unit used to boast about, yeah, we've beaten up loads of people here who were more notorious than you, who were more fucking famous and caused a lot of trouble. They used to boast, yeah, about beating people up on that unit. So people like that shouldn't be in fucking uniform working in fucking jails, even on special units, because they're not ideal. You know what I mean? Used to go out on a fucking visit at Woodhill, metal chairs, a bench with a little ledge going across like that. You weren't allowed to touch. So you used to sit here and three others would sit there. And you know what was so fucking stupid? One screw would sit behind you and 3 or 4 others would sit in front of you, listening to everything you say and write it down. When they created the cells, 2 cells at Long Lartin, 2 in Full Sutton, a couple in Whitemore. Long Lartin had several cells because they built a new block which they could use. But Full Sutton used to run the CSA room the way they wanted. Wasn't like what you was at Woodhill. Used to be a 12-man unlock. Used to have to stand facing the window, walk out your cell backwards, spread yourself eagle up against the wall. They'd rub you down, and then they'd cuff you. So if you're going for a shower, you'd be handcuffed. If you're going to use the phone, you'd be handcuffed. If you're going to use exercise, they would handcuff you, and 6 of them would take you out on a yard with a dog handler. If you're going for a visit, I had a couple there. Used to bring the Cat A van round to the Seg, put me on the Cat A van with 6 screws and a dog handler, cuffed, take me into the high risk visits and sit in the room with me with the cuffs dangling down whilst I'm trying to have a fucking chat with me visitors. And you know what? I wasn't even a fucking Cat A. But everyone who was allocated to Woodhill was treated like a fucking Cat A. It was just fucking mad. You know what I mean? People who were causing problems, I couldn't understand. You could have dealt with them, could have sat down with them and what was the issues. But no, they didn't take no heed of people from outside about people being there. This is the way we're doing things, and if you don't like it, tough. Several people had written in on my behalf to protest about me being there, because that basically, what had I done to actually be there? Okay, I've been involved in sabotage in certain jails. Like smashing up the toilets, ruining the calendar, putting liquid on the floor, washing up liquid, which if they come and someone presses the bell, they're all falling over. Yeah, used to ring the bell a few times just to cause fucking fun. You know what I mean? So I didn't really fucking get involved in attacks. What? And I think my whole time in prison, I think I had probably 2 fucking tattoos. I had more disputes with fucking screws than cons. But then that just shows you the nature of the people you're having to who are supposed to be there to ensure everybody's safety. But I don't think they actually do a good job on the special units. I mean, I even knew there was a governor there who was from Liverpool, and it's only while I've been out, people she knows knew me. I was absolutely gobsmacked, because where I used to live in Liverpool when I was in care, I used to socialise with certain people, and they knew her. I think one of them might have been dating her. You know what I mean? So when she said, "Oh, blah blah blah," I went, "What?" Okay, now I was shocked, but yeah, it was up and down the units. I liked them because I could go to the gym, I could get rid of tension in the gym. Yeah, was I stressed out a lot? Yeah, I think that was. I think one of the first times that I might have actually had the panic attacks. Because one day I'm lying in bed, and your beds weren't proper beds. It was like plinth on the floor, which is about that high off the floor, with a mattress on. And then they decided to build, like, I can't say what it was, but they built, like, I don't know if it was cardboard or what, went up, and then they built like a marble top and put that across, so the mattress was higher up. That was made of like glue and marble, because I know someone who smashed it and was getting high on the actually glue. You had cardboard furniture, you didn't have proper fucking furniture. And you couldn't open the windows because there wasn't none. It was vents. Yeah, had a sink. It had a metal sink, a metal toilet, and obviously sometimes they got broken off when people were up fucking set. Yeah, so that's what life was like. 1 minute things could be all right, next minute fucking things could be going off. It just depended on the mix of people you were there with. I actually, as I said, Woodhill didn't really have any problems at all. At Hull, certain people didn't like certain people because of who they were. And you should just do your own thing. I used to go in the computer room, where it was computer room and library. The gym, our own gym in Hull. Exercise was just off the TV room in a cage. There was 2 TV rooms, so you could go in and watch whatever you wanted. The cells were upstairs on the threes. Officers were all on the twos. Showers were on the threes. The fours didn't get used then at that time. Next door to that used to be the block in Hull. But when you used to, at Wood Hill, you exercised, there was there was 4 exercise yards on one side, and there was a big massive yard on the other side where, at the time, Huntley was exercising on the unit yard on his own, because they weren't prepared to put him on a normal wing. He was housed in the healthcare. Used to bring him over for his exercise and bring him over for his visits at the time. So that's how they used to do it. We used to go out on exercise. You're being watched all day long. There was 2 cameras on each yard, one at the top, one at the bottom, so they were watching what you were doing. Now, whether they had people who used to lip read, we don't know. But you used to get shirts going out and coming back in. Oh, fucking, it was 5.5 years, 6 years, as far as I was concerned, wasted. Because once you were on there, you did not progress at all. If you're going up for parole reviews, you were getting nothing, because you were contained in what was the highest level of the prison system. I eventually got deselected. I think it was 2004. And the governor at the time decided wasn't putting me back in the high security estate because didn't want my behaviour to regress. So I ended up going over to the main wings, went from there to Grendon to discuss childhood issues, but it didn't work out there. And I ended up going back to Wood Hill, but not on the unit. And I did see some staff who worked on the unit when I was working on the wing, and were attacking people on the wings, jumping on people, giving people beatings openly in front of everybody else. But that's for the other time. But I think I've been on long enough. I shall have to dig out some of my stuff on Wood Hill and do a more comprehensive chat about the compact, things they used to write down and blah blah blah. But I just say, enjoy yourselves. I hope you like it. If you've got any questions about Wood Hill, Hull or Durham, just ask and I'll try and answer them best I can. So on that note, all have a good night. If you're watching the football tonight, I hope it goes well for you, apart from one team. So on that note, I'm gonna go. So look after yourselves and take care. Ta-ra.